Welcome to my channel, Unleash Your English, my friends. Today, I will tell you true life stories in very easy English, real people, real pain, real failure, and real comeback. If you feel lost, weak, or slow in English and in life, this video is for you. Stay till the end because one story may change how you see yourself forever. Chapter 1. Everyone starts with a silent struggle. Every true life story begins quietly, not with success, not with applause, not with confidence. It begins in silence. A silence where no one claps for you, a silence where no one sees your effort, a silence where you wake up every day and feel something heavy inside your chest, but you still go on. Many people think struggle is loud. They think struggle looks like crying in public or shouting at the world. But real struggle is silent. It lives inside your mind, it follows you when you wake up, it sits with you when you eat. It walks beside you when you go outside and smile, even when you are tired. This is where most people start, but very few talk about it. And if you are here listening to this story, you may already know this silence very well. In the beginning, most people feel small. They feel slow, they feel behind. They look at others and think, why is life easy for them and hard for me? They try to understand what they are doing wrong, they try harder, they push more, but still, nothing changes fast. And slowly, a dangerous thought enters the mind. Maybe I am not good enough. Maybe I am not smart enough. Maybe this is my limit. This thought is quiet, but it is powerful. It does not scream, it whispers. And because it whispers, many people believe it. They carry it for years. They carry it to school, they carry it to work, they carry it into learning English, they carry it into life. This is the silent struggle no one prepares you for. Many learners of English feel this deeply. They listen to others speak fast, they see confidence, they see fluency, and inside they feel stuck. Words come slowly, sentences break, fear appears. They want to speak, but something stops them. Not grammar, not vocabulary, fear. Fear of sounding stupid, fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged. And the painful part is this. They practice in their mind, but they stay silent in real life. This silence hurts more than mistakes, because mistakes mean you tried. Silence means you stopped yourself. And this is where many stories pause for years. But here is something very important you must understand. Feeling weak does not mean you are weak. Feeling slow does not mean you cannot grow. Feeling lost does not mean you are finished. It only means you are human. Every strong person you admire once felt exactly like this. Every confident speaker once struggled to form simple sentences. Every success story you see today once lived in silence, confusion, and doubt. The difference is not talent. The difference is not luck. The difference is time and persistence. But people only show the result. They hide the process. The silent struggle also teaches you something powerful, even when you do not see it. It builds patience. It builds awareness. It builds depth. When life is easy, people do not think much. But when life is heavy, you think deeply. You observe more. You feel more. You grow roots. And strong roots matter more than fast growth. A tree that grows slowly stands longer. A person who grows slowly understands life better. This is why your struggle is not wasted time. It is preparation time. At this stage of the story, many people quit. They say this is not for me, English is not for me, success is not for me, change is not for me. They return to comfort. But comfort is a quiet prison. It feels safe, but it keeps you small. And deep inside, even when you stop trying, something hurts. Because you know you did not give yourself a fair chance. This pain stays longer than failure. Failure teaches. Regret burns. But some people do something different. Not something big, not something dramatic, something small. They continue, even when motivation is low, even when results are slow, even when no one claps. They continue because quitting hurts more than trying. And this decision, this quiet decision, becomes the first turning point. No one notices it, no one celebrates it. But it changes everything later. If you are watching this and thinking, This sounds like my life, then this story is for you. You are not alone, you are not strange, you are not broken. You are simply at the beginning, and beginnings are always uncomfortable, always confusing, always quiet. But every strong story starts exactly here. In silence, in doubt, in effort that no one sees. And remember this. The silent struggle is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is shaping you for the chapters ahead. You may not feel strong now, that is okay. Strength does not announce itself early, it arrives later, when you look back and realize how far you have come. This is only the first chapter, and your story is just starting. Chapter 2. When Life Says No Again and Again. After the silent struggle comes something louder, but not kinder. Life starts saying no. Not once, not twice, again and again. You try something new and it fails. You apply and get rejected. You speak and people do not listen. You prepare and the result is poor. Each no feels small at first, but together they become heavy. They sit on your chest, they make your steps slower, they make your voice quieter. You begin to expect no before you even try. This is how rejection slowly changes the way you see yourself. Not suddenly, slowly, quietly, day by day. Many people think rejection builds strength immediately. That is not true. At first, rejection hurts. It makes you question your ability. It makes you doubt your direction. You start asking painful questions. Why me? Why not others? Why do I try so hard and still lose? These questions repeat in your mind, especially at night. And when you wake up, the world feels a little colder. You smile less, you speak less, you dream less. This is the real cost of hearing no too many times without understanding what it means. For English learners, this feeling is very real. You try to speak and someone corrects you. You say a sentence and people laugh. You listen but you do not understand. You watch others speak freely and you feel stuck. Every mistake feels like proof that you cannot do it. Every pause feels like failure. Slowly you stop raising your hand. You stop speaking first. You choose silence because silence feels safer than rejection. But inside you feel angry at yourself because you know silence is not growth. Here is the truth most people never tell you. Life says no to everyone. But not everyone hears it the same way. Some people hear no and think this is the end. Others hear no and think this is information, this is feedback, this is a lesson. The word no does not mean never, it means not yet. It means change your method. It means learn something new. It means grow. But when you are tired and emotional, it is hard to see this meaning. You only feel the pain. There is a dangerous moment during this phase. It is when rejection becomes personal. When you stop saying this did not work and start saying I am not good. This is where many people break. Because methods can change, but identity feels permanent. If you believe you are the problem, you stop trying to solve the problem. You accept the pain as your destiny, and this belief becomes heavier than failure itself. But something interesting happens when no comes many times. It removes illusion, it removes false hope, it forces honesty. You begin to see clearly, you stop waiting for shortcuts, you stop dreaming without action. You realize that real progress needs patience, repetition, and effort. Rejection teaches you where you are weak, and weakness is not shame, weakness is a map. It shows where you need to grow. Some people leave at this stage, others stay but change their approach. They stop chasing praise. They stop comparing themselves to others. They focus on one small thing, one skill, one habit, one daily action. They begin to build quietly. No noise, no announcement, just work. This is where true strength begins, not in confidence, but in discipline. If you feel tired of hearing no, remember this. The people who reach the other side are not those who hear yes early. They are those who learn how to survive no. They learn how to stand again after rejection. They learn how to separate their value from their results. And slowly, without realizing it, Rejection stops controlling them. This chapter is painful, but it is necessary. Because without rejection, growth stays weak. Without no, yes has no value. And without this stage, the comeback later would mean nothing. If life is saying no to you right now, it does not mean stop. It means prepare. The story is not ending here, it is getting ready to turn. Chapter 3. The day everything felt too heavy. There comes a day in many lives when everything feels too heavy to carry. Not just one problem, not just one fear, everything together. Your dreams feel heavy. Your responsibilities feel heavy. Even simple things like waking up or starting the day feel difficult. You do not feel weak, but you feel tired in a deep way. A tiredness that sleep does not fix. A tiredness that lives in the mind and slowly moves into the body. On that day, you look at your life and think, how did it become this hard? You did not choose to feel this way. It happened step by step, problem by problem, until one day you realized you were carrying too much alone. On this day, thoughts become louder. They do not stop. They talk when you try to rest. They follow you when you work. They remind you of every mistake, every failure, every delay. You start thinking about the past and worrying about the future at the same time. Your mind feels full, but your heart feels empty. You want relief, but you do not know where to find it. You smile for others, but inside you feel pressure. This is the kind of day many people hide. They do not talk about it because they do not want to look weak. But this day visits almost everyone at least once in life. For many English learners, this day comes when effort feels useless. You study, you listen, you repeat, but progress feels invisible. Words still get stuck, sentences still break, confidence still feels far away. You start asking yourself hard questions. Am I wasting my time? Will I ever improve? Why is this so easy for others and so hard for me? These questions hurt because they attack your hope, and when hope feels weak, everything feels heavier. This is also the day when people feel alone, even in a crowd. You sit with family, you walk with friends, but inside you feel separate. You feel like no one truly understands what you are carrying. You do not need advice, you do not need motivation words, you just want the weight to feel lighter. But instead it feels heavier because you are silent. Silence can protect you, but it can also isolate you. Many people think strength means never feeling like this. That is a lie. Real strength includes moments of heaviness. Real growth includes emotional weight. This heavy day does not mean you are failing. It means you are stretching beyond your comfort. Growth always feels heavy before it feels strong. Muscles feel pain before they become powerful. The mind is the same. There is something important about this day. It forces a pause. You cannot continue on autopilot. You must stop and feel. And feeling is uncomfortable but necessary. This is where you learn what really matters to you. This is where fake goals fall away and real desires remain. This is where you realize you cannot carry everything the same way anymore. Something must change. Some people try to escape this day. They distract themselves, they blame others, they numb the feeling, but the weight stays. Others choose a different path. They do not run, they sit with the feeling. They accept that life is hard right now. And this acceptance is not weakness, it is clarity. When you accept the weight, you can finally decide how to carry it better. This heavy day is not your breaking point, it is your turning point. It pushes you to look inward, it pushes you to simplify. It pushes you to choose what is worth your energy and what is not. And even though it feels painful now, this day will later become a reference point. One day you will look back and say, that was the day I stopped pretending everything was fine. If today feels heavy for you, breathe. You are not behind, you are not lost, you are at a moment of truth. And truth, even when painful, leads to growth. The weight you feel is not here to crush you, it is here to shape you. And slowly, very slowly, you will learn how to stand stronger under it. Chapter 4. Giving up looked easy, but something stopped me. After the heavy day comes a dangerous moment. A quiet moment where giving up looks easy. Not dramatic, not emotional, just simple. You stop trying. You stop pushing. You tell yourself maybe this is enough. Maybe I should accept life as it is. This thought feels calm at first. It feels like rest. It feels like relief. Because trying is tiring and quitting feels like peace. But this peace is false. It is the kind of peace that slowly takes away your future. In this moment, you do not feel angry. You feel empty. You feel tired of hope. You feel tired of believing. You start thinking, what is the point? I try and nothing changes. I care and it hurts, so maybe I should care less. This is the moment when many dreams end. Not because they were impossible, but because the person was exhausted. And exhaustion can convince you to make permanent decisions for temporary pain. For English learners, this moment comes when effort feels invisible. You have listened to many lessons, you have repeated many sentences, you have watched many videos, but fluency still feels far. You start thinking, maybe English is not for me, maybe I am too old, maybe I am too slow, maybe my brain is not made for this. These thoughts feel logical when you are tired, but they are lies created by fatigue. Here is what makes this moment special. Even when giving up feels easy, something inside resists. A small voice, not loud, not confident, just honest. It says, what if I try a little more? What if I do not quit today? What if this pain means I am close to change? This voice does not promise success. It only asks for one more step. And that is why it is powerful, because it feels real. Most people think motivation saves them. It does not. Motivation comes and goes. What saves people in this moment is identity. Somewhere deep inside, you know quitting is not who you are. You may be tired, but you are not finished. You may be slow, but you are not done. This awareness stops your hand when you are about to let go. And even though you do not feel strong, you stay. This decision does not change your life immediately. Nothing magical happens. The next day still feels hard. The struggle does not disappear. But something important shifts. You no longer run. You stand. You stop fighting yourself. You accept that growth is uncomfortable and still choose it. This is quiet courage. No one claps for it. No one sees it. But it builds the strongest kind of confidence. Giving up looks easy because it removes pressure, but it also removes possibility. Continuing looks hard because it demands patience, but it keeps the door open. When you choose to continue, even without excitement, you protect your future self. You protect the version of you that will one day be thankful you did not stop here. This chapter is not about winning. It is about staying. Staying in the process. Staying in the discomfort. Staying with your goals even when they feel far away. Many success stories are not stories of talent. They are stories of people who did not leave at this moment. If you are standing at this point right now, listen carefully. You do not need to be strong today. You only need to not quit today. That is enough. Tomorrow can be different, but quitting closes all tomorrows. This moment will pass. The tiredness will change. And one day you will remember this chapter and realize, this was the moment I chose myself. Chapter 5, a small decision that changed everything. Big change rarely starts with big action. This is something many people do not understand at first. We think change comes with strong motivation, clear plans, and perfect timing. We wait for a powerful feeling inside us that says, now you are ready. But that feeling often never comes. And while we wait, life stays the same. What really changes a life is something much smaller. A small decision, a quiet decision, A decision so simple that it almost feels meaningless in the beginning. But later, when you look back, you realize that small decision changed the direction of everything. This decision does not arrive with confidence. It arrives with doubt. You do not feel sure. You do not feel excited. You just feel tired of staying where you are. You reach a point where doing nothing hurts more than doing something. And so you choose one small action. Not because you believe it will work, but because you cannot continue the same way. This is how real change begins. Not with hope, but with honesty. For many people, this small decision is simple. I will try again tomorrow. I will practice 10 minutes, not 1 hour. I will speak one sentence, not a full conversation. I will learn one word today. This sounds too small to matter, but small actions remove fear. Big goals scare the mind. Small actions calm it. When you say just 10 minutes, your brain does not fight you. When you say one sentence, your fear stays quiet. And this is why small decisions are powerful. They make action possible. For English learners, this moment is very important. Instead of thinking I must be fluent, you think I will say one sentence today. Instead of thinking I must understand everything, you think I will understand one word. This changes your relationship with learning. Learning stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like movement. Even slow movement builds confidence. Standing still builds fear. At first, this small decision does not feel special. The first day feels normal. The second day feels boring. You do not feel smarter, you do not feel better. You may even feel the same. And this is where many people stop again. They expect fast reward. But the power of small decisions is not in speed. It is in repetition. What you repeat becomes your identity. When you repeat effort, you slowly become someone who does not quit. There is something beautiful that happens when you keep a small promise to yourself. Trust grows. Not loud confidence, but quiet trust. You begin to believe that when you say you will do something, you actually will. This belief is stronger than motivation. Motivation depends on mood, trust depends on action. And once trust grows, discipline becomes easier. This small decision also changes how failure feels. When your goal is small, failure feels small too. If you miss one day, you do not feel broken. You return the next day. There is no drama, no guilt, no shame, just continuation. This creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is very important for learning. Fear blocks growth. Safety allows it. Over time, something interesting happens. That small decision becomes a habit. That habit becomes part of your day. You stop thinking about it. You just do it. And one day, without warning, you realize you are better than before. Not perfect, not fluent, but better. You understand more, you speak with less fear, you recover faster from mistakes. This moment feels surprising because you did not notice the change while it was happening. People often ask, when did things change for you? And many cannot answer clearly, because change was slow, it was quiet, it happened in small moments, in early mornings, in tired evenings, in repeated effort no one saw. This is why small decisions are powerful. They work in silence. They do not need attention. This chapter is important because it breaks a big lie. The lie that says you need big motivation to change your life. You do not. You need a small decision and the courage to repeat it. That is enough. Everything else grows from there. If you are listening to this and thinking your life needs change, do not wait for a perfect plan. Do not wait for confidence. Choose one small action today, something you can do even when tired, even when busy, even when unsure. That one small decision may not change your life today, but if you repeat it, it will change who you become, and that changes everything. Chapter 6. Learning slowly, but learning every day. After the small decision comes a new challenge: learning slowly. At first, this feels frustrating. We live in a world that celebrates speed, fast results, quick success, instant improvement. And when progress is slow, we feel something is wrong. We think slow means weak, slow means incapable, slow means failing. But this belief is one of the biggest lies people carry. Slow does not mean stop, slow means movement with patience. And learning slowly, every day, is one of the strongest ways to build real change. When you start learning slowly, you notice something strange. The effort feels light, but the time feels long. Days pass, weeks pass, and you still feel like a beginner. This is uncomfortable. You want proof. You want evidence that your effort is working. But real learning does not show itself early. It hides. It builds quietly inside you, like roots under the ground. You cannot see them, but they are growing. And one day, when life pushes you, those roots hold you strong. For English learners, slow learning is very common and very normal. You listen to English today, and tomorrow you forget many words. You speak today, and next week you make the same mistakes again. This makes you feel stuck. But what you do not see is this: each time you listen, your ear improves a little. Each time you speak, your fear becomes smaller. Each time you repeat, your brain becomes more familiar with the language. Familiarity is the first step to fluency, not perfection. Learning every day is more important than learning a lot. Daily contact with English trains your brain to accept the language as normal, not special, not stressful, just part of life. When English becomes normal, fear disappears slowly. You stop fighting the language, you start living with it. And living with a language is how fluency grows. There will be days when learning feels boring. No excitement, no progress feeling, just repetition. These days test your patience, but these days are the most valuable, because anyone can learn when they feel motivated. Only serious learners continue when they feel nothing, and consistency during boring days creates real power. Slow learning also teaches humility. You stop comparing yourself to others. You focus on your path. You learn to respect your pace. This reduces pressure. Pressure blocks memory. Calm helps memory. When you are calm, your brain absorbs more. You understand better. You remember longer. This is why relaxed learning works better than forced learning. Another important change happens during this phase. You stop waiting for confidence. Confidence starts coming from action, not results. You feel proud because you showed up, not because you were perfect. This builds inner strength, and inner strength is more important than fast success, because fast success without strength often breaks later. Many people quit during slow progress, not because it does not work, but because it does not entertain them. Growth is not always exciting. Sometimes it is repetitive. Sometimes it is boring. But boring progress is better than exciting quitting. People who accept this truth go far. One day, something unexpected happens. You understand a sentence without thinking. You reply faster than before. You feel less fear when speaking. These moments feel small, but they are signs of real growth. They come quietly, they surprise you, and they prove that slow learning is working. This chapter teaches an important lesson. Speed does not build mastery. Repetition does, comfort does, daily contact does. If you learn slowly, but daily you will go further than someone who learns fast but quits early. This is not a race, it is a journey. If you feel slow right now, do not be ashamed. You are not behind. You are building something strong. Stay with the process, stay with the routine. Your progress is real, even when it feels invisible. And one day, you will look back and realize that learning slowly every day was the smartest thing you ever did. Chapter 7: Failing in Public, Learning in Private. There is a special kind of fear that does not come from inside only. It comes from outside, from people's eyes, from their reactions, from the feeling that everyone is watching when you make a mistake. This fear becomes strong when failure happens in public, when you speak and say the wrong word, when you answer and your voice shakes, when you try and others notice your weakness. Public failure hurts more than private failure, because it touches not only your skills, but your pride. Many people say they are not afraid of mistakes, but when the moment comes, the body reacts. The heart beats faster, the throat feels dry, the mind goes blank. This reaction is human. It does not mean you are weak. It means you care. And caring is not a problem. Fear becomes a problem only when it controls your actions. For English learners, public failure feels very real. Speaking in front of others is not just about language, it is about identity. You feel like people are judging your intelligence, not your English. You feel like one mistake defines you, and after one bad experience, the mind remembers the pain. Next time, it protects you by stopping you from speaking. This protection feels safe, but it stops growth. Private learning feels very different. When you practice alone, there is no pressure, no eyes, no judgment. You can repeat 10 times. You can stop. You can make mistakes without shame. This is why private learning is powerful. It builds skill without fear. It allows honesty. You see your weaknesses clearly, and you work on them quietly. But here is something important. Growth needs both. Private learning builds skill. Public failure builds courage. If you only practice in private, you become strong inside but silent outside. If you only try in public without preparation, you feel exposed and hurt. Balance is important. Many people do not understand this balance. They either hide forever or jump too early. Those who grow steadily do something smart. They learn in private and test in public. They practice sentences alone and try them with people later. They prepare quietly and speak when ready. This method reduces fear and increases confidence. Public failure also teaches humility. You learn that mistakes do not kill you. People move on. Life continues. The fear you imagine is often bigger than reality. Most people are busy with their own lives. They do not remember your mistake as much as you think. This realization is freeing. Private learning teaches discipline. You learn to show up without applause. You build a relationship with yourself. You become your own teacher. This is powerful because when you trust your own effort, external judgment loses power. There is a moment in this phase when you realize something important. Failing in public did not end your life. Learning in private did not make you invisible. Both helped you grow. This understanding removes extreme fear. You stop seeing mistakes as enemies. You start seeing them as teachers. Another important change happens here. You stop trying to impress people. You focus on expressing yourself. This shift changes everything. When you try to impress, fear controls you. When you try to express, freedom grows. Expression allows mistakes. Impression demands perfection. This chapter is about accepting visibility, not loving it, but tolerating it. Not avoiding fear, but walking with it. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is speaking even when fear is present. If you are afraid of failing in public, do not fight the fear. Respect it. Prepare privately. Practice calmly. Then take small public steps. Speak one sentence. Ask one question. Share one thought. This is enough. Remember this. Every confident person you see today once failed in public. They once felt embarrassed, they once wanted to disappear, but they continued. They learned privately and returned stronger. That is how real confidence is built. Your mistakes are not proof of weakness. They are proof of effort. And effort is the only thing growth respects. Chapter 8. When Nobody Believed, I Did. There comes a quiet moment in many lives when you realize something painful and freeing at the same time. People may not believe in you, not because they are bad, not because they want to hurt you, but because they see you as you were, not as you can become. They remember your past mistakes, your slow progress, your failures, and their expectations stop there. This realization hurts at first. You want support. You want encouragement. You want someone to say you can do it. But sometimes, that voice does not come from outside. It must come from you. At the beginning, you look for belief everywhere. In family, in friends, in teachers, in comments, in results. You want proof that your effort is worth something. When you do not get it, doubt grows. You start questioning your direction again. You think, if nobody believes, maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am dreaming too much. This is a dangerous thought, because most people do not believe in something until it is visible, and growth is invisible for a long time. Believing in yourself does not mean feeling confident all the time. That is a misunderstanding. Self-belief is not loud. It is not emotional. It is not motivational speeches in the mirror. Real self-belief is quiet consistency. It is continuing even when no one is watching. It is working even when no one praises. It is trusting the process when results are slow. For English learners, this stage is very important. You may not hear encouragement. People may joke. People may correct you in a harsh way. People may not take you seriously. And if you depend on their approval, your effort will stop. But when you begin to believe in your own journey, everything changes. You stop waiting for permission to grow. You give it to yourself. At first, believing in yourself feels strange. You do not have evidence. You still make mistakes. You still feel slow. So the belief is not based on success, it is based on effort. You say to yourself, I may not be good yet, but I am trying, I am showing up, I am learning. This is enough for now. This belief is fragile at first, but repetition makes it strong. There is a powerful shift that happens when self-belief grows. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop defending your goals. You stop proving your seriousness. You simply do the work. Silence becomes your shield. Focus becomes your language. And slowly, your energy changes. You feel calmer, less reactive, more centered. People may still doubt you during this time. Some may even discourage you, not always intentionally. Sometimes their doubt comes from their own fears. Your effort reminds them of dreams they stopped chasing, and that makes them uncomfortable. Understanding this helps you stop taking doubt personally. Believing in yourself also means being honest with yourself. You do not pretend everything is fine. You accept your weaknesses. You see where you need improvement. And instead of judging yourself, you work. Self-belief is not ignoring problems. It is facing them without quitting. This phase teaches independence. You become your own support system. You learn to motivate yourself on bad days. You learn to continue without applause. This skill is rare and powerful. Many people depend on external validation. When it disappears, they stop. But when belief comes from inside, you become unstoppable. One day, something interesting happens. People start noticing. Not because you ask them to, but because change becomes visible. Your confidence feels different. Your presence feels stronger. Your voice feels steadier. And those who once doubted begin to ask questions. But by then, their belief matters less. Because you already believe. This chapter is about inner permission, permission to grow, permission to be slow, permission to try again. When nobody believes, you must. Not blindly, not emotionally, but steadily. Quiet belief, supported by daily action, is stronger than loud encouragement without effort. If you feel alone in your journey, remember this. Belief grows from action, not from words. Every small step you take is a vote for your future self. Keep voting even when no one else does. Chapter 9. The Turning Point. Nobody talks about. Most people imagine a turning point as something dramatic. A big moment, a clear sign, a sudden success that changes everything overnight. Movies show it that way. Social media shows it that way. But real life is very different. The true turning point is quiet. So quiet that many people do not even notice it when it happens. It does not arrive with excitement, it arrives with routine. And because it feels normal, people underestimate it. The turning point nobody talks about is the moment when effort becomes normal, when learning is no longer a battle, when trying does not feel heroic, it feels expected. You wake up and do the work without arguing with yourself. You practice without emotional drama. You make mistakes and continue. This moment does not feel special, but it is powerful, because consistency has replaced resistance. Before this turning point, every action feels heavy. You need motivation. You need reminders. You need encouragement. After this point, action feels lighter. Not easy, but lighter. The mind stops fighting the process. This is when growth accelerates, not because effort increased, but because friction decreased. For English learners, this turning point is very real. One day, you realize that listening to English does not feel strange anymore. Hearing the language does not stress you. You may not understand everything, but you are comfortable with not understanding. This comfort is a sign of growth. Fear is leaving quietly. Another sign of this turning point is how you react to mistakes. Before, one mistake could ruin your day. Now, mistakes feel normal. You correct yourself and move on. You do not attach emotion to errors. This emotional neutrality is a big change. It means learning has become part of your identity. This turning point does not mean success has arrived. You are still learning. You still struggle sometimes. But the struggle feels different. It feels useful, not discouraging. You see effort as investment, not punishment. This mindset change is more important than any skill. Many people miss this turning point because they are waiting for excitement. They think nothing is happening. They compare themselves to others and feel behind. And sometimes they quit right after reaching this stage. This is tragic because they were closer than they realized. The turning point also changes how you see time. You stop counting days. You stop rushing. You trust the process. You understand that growth takes time, and that is okay. Patience replaces urgency, and patience allows depth. Another quiet change happens here. You stop seeking motivation from outside. You stop watching videos just to feel inspired. You watch to learn. You listen to practice. You become active, not emotional. This shift builds strength. This chapter teaches an important lesson. The turning point is not a reward, it is a habit. It is the moment when discipline becomes normal, when learning becomes part of life, not a separate activity. This is why it is rarely celebrated. It looks boring from the outside, but from the inside, it feels stable. If you feel like you are doing the same thing every day and nothing exciting is happening, be careful. You might be at the turning point. If learning feels normal, if effort feels expected, if fear feels smaller, these are signs of progress. Do not quit because it feels boring. Boredom often comes before breakthrough. The turning point does not announce itself. It waits for those who stay. This is the stage where many stories truly change direction, not because life becomes easy, but because the person becomes steady. And steadiness beats intensity every time. Chapter 10. Progress felt invisible, but it was real. One of the hardest parts of any journey is not the struggle at the beginning. It is the middle, when progress feels invisible. You are no longer at zero. You are not a complete beginner anymore. But you are also not where you want to be. You live in between. And this space is uncomfortable. Because effort continues, but rewards are quiet. You work, but nothing exciting happens. Days pass, weeks pass, and you start wondering if anything is actually changing. Invisible progress is dangerous because it creates doubt. You start thinking, maybe I am walking in circles. Maybe I am wasting time. Maybe this effort is not working. And because there is no clear proof, the mind starts telling stories. Negative stories. Stories that say stop. Stories that say choose something easier. This is where many people quit, not because they failed, but because they could not see growth. For English learners, this phase feels very familiar. You can understand more than before, but still not enough. You can speak better, but still with mistakes. You are better, but not fluent. This middle stage feels long, and because it feels long, it feels endless. But it is not endless, it is just deep. The truth is this: most real progress happens underground, like roots growing under a tree. You do not see roots growing, but without them, the tree falls. During this phase, your brain is making connections. Your ear is adjusting. Your mouth is learning rhythm. Your fear is slowly shrinking. These changes do not show in dramatic ways, but they are real. There is a reason invisible progress feels painful. Humans like feedback. We like signs. We like results. When results are delayed, patience is tested. But delayed results often mean strong results, because what takes time usually lasts longer. Another problem during this phase is comparison. You see others moving faster. You see people speaking better. You see success stories everywhere. And you forget one important thing. You are only seeing the surface of their story. You are not seeing their invisible work. Comparison steals focus, and focus is needed most in this stage. Invisible progress also teaches trust. You must trust the process, trust your routine, trust your effort. This trust is not blind. It is built on repetition. You know you are showing up. You know you are practicing. Even if you cannot feel growth, you know the work is happening. Something subtle changes during this phase. You stop making the same mistakes as often. You recover faster when you do. You understand context better. You guess meaning correctly sometimes. These small signs are easy to ignore, but they are important. They show that learning is settling inside you. Many people make the mistake of changing direction here. They jump to new methods, new courses, new plans, not because the old one failed, but because they are bored. This resets progress. Stability is important during invisible growth. Repetition is your friend. One day, often without warning, invisible progress becomes visible. You understand a conversation naturally. You speak without translating. You feel confident in a moment that once scared you. And you wonder when this change happened. It happened slowly, quietly, over time. This chapter is about patience, about staying when nothing exciting happens, about trusting that effort always leaves a mark, even when you cannot see it yet. If you feel stuck in the middle, remember this: you are not lost, you are not failing, you are building depth, and depth takes time. Stay with the process. Invisible progress is still progress, and it is preparing you for the next level of your journey. Chapter 11. One day something felt different. After a long time of effort that felt invisible, something small but important begins to change. It does not happen with fireworks. It does not arrive with a loud announcement. It happens quietly, in a normal moment, on a normal day. You may not even notice it immediately, but something feels different, lighter, calmer, more natural. This is the moment when all the invisible work begins to speak. On that day, you wake up like usual. You do your routine. You do not expect anything special. And then, in a simple situation, something shifts. Maybe you understand a sentence without translating. Maybe you reply without thinking too much. Maybe you speak and your voice does not shake. It is not perfect, it is not fluent, but it is easier, and ease is powerful, because ease means fear is leaving. At first, you doubt this feeling. You think, maybe it was luck. Maybe it was a simple sentence. Maybe tomorrow it will be gone. This doubt is natural. When you have struggled for a long time, it is hard to trust good moments. You are used to difficulty. Ease feels strange. But the truth is this: what felt different was not luck, it was preparation meeting opportunity. For English learners, this moment is very emotional because you remember the days when English felt heavy, when every word felt like a fight, and now even a small moment of comfort feels like freedom. You feel proud, but also careful. You do not want to celebrate too early, but inside, something warms your heart. You realize you are not the same person you were before. This moment also changes how you see effort. You realize that all those boring days mattered, all those repetitions counted, all those quiet practices were working, even when you felt nothing. This understanding brings peace. You stop rushing. You stop doubting every step. You start trusting your process. Something else changes too. Your self-talk becomes kinder. You stop calling yourself slow. You stop saying, I cannot do this. Instead, you say, I am learning. I am improving. I am getting better. This shift in language matters because how you speak to yourself shapes how you move forward. After this moment, challenges do not disappear. You still make mistakes. You still forget words. You still feel nervous sometimes. But the difference is this: you do not panic. You do not collapse emotionally. You recover faster. You try again. This emotional stability is real progress. Many people think success is the moment when everything becomes easy. That is not true. Real success is when difficulty no longer scares you, when you know you can handle it, when you trust yourself to continue. This is what that small, different feeling represents. This chapter is important because it shows that change is real, not imagined, not fake. It shows that effort creates results, even when delayed. And it teaches patience, because if you continue after this moment, growth accelerates. One mistake people make here is relaxing too much. They stop practicing. They feel safe and slow down. Comfort can be dangerous if it leads to stopping. The key is balance. Celebrate quietly, but continue steadily. If you have not felt this moment yet, do not worry. It will come. It comes to those who stay, those who repeat, those who do not quit during invisible progress. And when it comes, it will remind you of why you started. This chapter is not the end. It is a sign that your direction is right, that your effort is working, and that your future chapters will be stronger, clearer, and more confident than your past ones. Chapter 12. People started noticing the change. For a long time, you were the only one who could feel the change. It lived inside you, in your confidence, in your calm, in your reactions. But then something interesting happens. Slowly, other people start noticing too. Not all at once, not loudly, just small comments, small reactions, a different look in their eyes. Someone says, "You sound better." Someone says, "You are more confident now." Someone listens more carefully when you speak. These moments feel strange because you remember a time when nobody noticed your effort at all. At first, this attention feels uncomfortable. You are not used to it. You are used to being invisible. So when people notice, you feel shy. You feel unsure. You think, maybe they are just being polite. maybe they are wrong. This hesitation is natural. When you have struggled quietly for a long time, recognition feels unreal. But recognition is not what changes you. It is what confirms what you already know. You have been growing. You have been improving. And now some of that inner change is visible outside. This moment feels good, but it also teaches an important lesson. People only notice after the hard part is done. They do not see the lonely practice. They do not see the boring days. They only see the result. For English learners, this phase is very meaningful. Maybe earlier people corrected you often. Maybe they ignored your words. Maybe they finished your sentences. And now they listen. They wait. They respond naturally. This change shows progress more clearly than tests or exams. Real-life response is the best measurement. But this stage also brings a new challenge: expectations. When people start noticing, they start expecting more. They expect you to always speak well, always be confident, always perform. This pressure can feel heavy if you are not careful. You must remember that growth is not a straight line. Some days will still be hard, and that is okay. Another important change happens here. You stop craving approval. When recognition comes naturally, you realize you do not need to chase it. You learn that approval follows effort, not the other way around. This realization brings emotional freedom. You stop trying to impress. You simply express. Some people around you may react differently to your growth. Some feel inspired. Some feel uncomfortable. Some may even try to pull you back, not always intentionally. Growth changes dynamics, and not everyone is ready for that. Understanding this helps you stay calm and focused. This phase also teaches gratitude. You remember how far you have come. You remember the silence, the rejection, the invisible progress, and you feel thankful that you did not quit. Gratitude strengthens motivation. It reminds you that patience works. One mistake people make at this stage is comparing again. They think, if I am improving, I should be perfect. This is a trap. Growth continues. Learning never ends. You must allow yourself to remain a learner. Confidence and humility can exist together. This chapter shows that inner change eventually becomes outer change. It may take time, but effort always leaves evidence. And when people notice, let it encourage you, not pressure you. If people are starting to see your growth, take it as confirmation, not completion. The journey continues. And the best part is this: you are no longer chasing belief, you are living it. Chapter 13. Success did not fix everything. When people imagine success, they imagine relief. They imagine happiness without effort. They imagine confidence without fear. They imagine a moment when all problems disappear. But real success is very different. When success arrives, even in a small form, it brings comfort, yes, but it also brings clarity. And clarity can be uncomfortable, because you realize something important. Success did not fix everything. At first, success feels good. You enjoy the progress. You feel proud. You feel validated. You think, finally, my hard work is showing. And it is true, your effort mattered. But after this feeling settles, you notice something else. Some fears are still there. Some doubts still appear. Some bad days still exist. And this surprises many people. They think success failed them. But success never promised to remove all problems. It only promised growth. For English learners, this realization is very common. You improve, you speak better, you understand more, and yet, sometimes you still hesitate. Sometimes you still forget words. Sometimes you still feel nervous. This can feel disappointing if you expected perfection, but it is actually normal. Language is living. It moves, it changes, and learning continues forever. This stage teaches maturity. You stop seeing success as an end. You start seeing it as a level. One level completed, another begins. This removes pressure. You no longer chase a finish line that does not exist. You focus on improvement, not arrival. Another important lesson appears here. Success does not fix identity issues. If you doubted yourself before, some doubt may still visit you. If you were afraid of judgment before, that fear may still appear sometimes. Success does not erase your past. It integrates it. It teaches you how to handle it better. This realization can feel disappointing at first. You think, I worked so hard, why am I still struggling sometimes? But struggle after success is different. It is lighter. It is manageable. You have tools now. You have experience. You know how to recover. This chapter also teaches gratitude for the journey, not just the result. You realize the person you became matters more than the goal you reached. The patience you built, the discipline you learned, the resilience you developed. These things stay with you even when success fades. Another danger at this stage is complacency. Feeling safe can lead to stopping. Growth slows. Comfort takes over. But life does not stop. Skills weaken when unused. This is why continued practice matters, even after success. This chapter brings balance. You learn to enjoy success without worshiping it. You learn to accept struggle without fearing it. This balance creates peace. If you are reaching success and still feel imperfect, do not worry. You are normal. Success does not make you invincible, it makes you capable. And capable people continue growing. This chapter reminds you that success is not the end of your story. It is just a chapter, and many meaningful chapters still remain. Chapter 14. Falling again, but not from zero. Just when you start feeling steady, life tests you again. Not in a loud way, not with drama, but quietly. You make a mistake you thought you had already fixed. You feel fear you believed was gone. You hesitate in a moment where you expected confidence. And suddenly a painful thought appears. Am I going backwards? This moment is confusing because you thought you were past this stage. You thought falling belonged to the old version of you. This fall feels different from the first ones. Earlier, falling felt like the end. Now, it feels like a setback. And there is a big difference. Falling again does not mean you lost everything. It means you are still human. Growth is not a straight line. It moves forward, then pauses, then slips, then continues again. Expecting constant improvement creates disappointment. Accepting ups and downs creates resilience. For English learners, this phase is very common. One day you speak well, the next day words disappear. One day you feel confident, the next day fear returns. This inconsistency can feel frustrating. You start questioning your progress again. But this time, something is different. You recover faster. You do not panic for long. You know this feeling. And because you know it, it loses power. Falling again teaches you an important truth. You did not fall from zero, you fell from experience. You still have knowledge, you still have habits, you still have awareness. Earlier, one bad day could stop you for weeks. Now, it slows you for a day, maybe two. That is progress. Another lesson appears here. Confidence is not permanent. It is maintained. Just like fitness, just like health. You do not train once and stay strong forever. You train regularly. When you stop, strength decreases. This does not mean training failed, it means maintenance matters. This chapter also removes a dangerous illusion. The illusion that successful people never fall again. They do, they just fall better. They fall without drama. They fall without self-hate. They fall and stand up with knowledge, not panic. Falling again also tests your identity. Earlier, failure made you question who you are. Now, failure questions what you need to adjust. This shift is powerful. You stop attacking yourself. You analyze the situation. You learn, you improve. Emotionally, this stage can feel heavy if you expected perfection. But it feels light if you expected reality. Expectations shape emotions. When you expect ups and downs, downs do not shock you. They become part of the journey. This chapter teaches self-compassion. You learn to speak kindly to yourself. You say, "This is part of learning. I have been here before. I know how to move forward." This inner voice is stronger than motivation. One mistake people make here is quitting because they think falling means failure. But falling again actually proves you are still trying. Those who stop do not fall, they freeze. Movement includes risk, and risk includes falling. If you are experiencing a setback right now, remember this. You are not starting over. You are continuing with more wisdom. Use what you learned before. Adjust your routine. Rest if needed. Then continue. This chapter is not a step backward. It is a test of maturity, and passing this test makes future growth more stable. You are not fragile anymore. You are flexible. And flexible people survive storms better than rigid ones. Chapter 15. This time I stood up faster. After falling again, something important becomes clear. You do not stay down as long as before. The pain still comes. The disappointment still appears. But the recovery is faster. And this is not luck. This is growth. Earlier, one bad moment could control your emotions for days or weeks. Now, it may slow you down for hours, maybe a day. Then you stand up, you breathe, you continue. This change is quiet, but it is powerful. Standing up faster does not mean you stop feeling pain. It means pain no longer controls your direction. You allow yourself to feel disappointed, but you do not build a home inside that feeling. You visit it, learn from it, and leave. This emotional skill is learned through experience, not advice, and you have earned it. For English learners, this is a very important stage. You still make mistakes, you still have awkward moments, but you do not collapse inside. You correct yourself. You laugh sometimes. You move on. The fear that once stopped you now becomes manageable. You realize that one mistake does not erase your progress. This understanding gives you freedom. Earlier, your inner voice was harsh. It said, "You are bad. You are slow. You will never learn." Now, the voice sounds different. It says this was a bad moment, not a bad person. This change in self-talk matters more than any technique. Because your inner voice is always with you, when it becomes supportive, growth accelerates. Another sign of standing up faster is clarity. When something goes wrong, you do not panic. You analyze. You ask, what happened? Was I tired? Did I stop practicing? Did I rush? This problem-solving mindset replaces emotional reaction, and problem-solving builds confidence. This stage also brings emotional independence. You stop needing others to calm you. You learn how to calm yourself. You know how to reset. You know how to return to routine. This skill protects you in all areas of life, not just learning English. There is also humility in this stage. You accept that you will never be perfect, and this acceptance removes pressure. You stop chasing an impossible image. You focus on progress. Progress feels lighter than perfection. Standing up faster also means trusting yourself. You trust that even if you fall, you will recover. This trust reduces fear before trying, because fear often comes from thinking failure will destroy you. Now you know it will not. It will teach you. Another important change happens here. You stop making excuses, not because you are strict, but because you are honest. You understand your patterns. You know when you are avoiding effort. You gently push yourself back on track. This self-awareness is strength. This chapter shows the difference between beginners and experienced learners. Beginners fall and stop. Experienced learners fall and continue. The fall becomes shorter, the pause becomes smaller, and momentum remains. If you are at this stage, be proud. Not loudly, quietly. You have built resilience. You have trained your mind. You are no longer controlled by one bad day. This chapter is not about avoiding failure. It is about reducing recovery time, and faster recovery is one of the clearest signs of growth. Keep moving. You are not fragile anymore. You are trained, and trained minds always return stronger. Chapter 16. Helping others changed me more. At some point in the journey, something unexpected happens. You stop thinking only about yourself, not because you do not care anymore, but because you start seeing others who are standing where you once stood. You notice their fear, their confusion, their silence. And without planning it, you help. You explain a small thing. You encourage. You listen. And in doing so, something inside you changes more deeply than before. Helping others does not require expertise. It requires honesty. You do not say, "I know everything." You say, "I struggled too." And this sentence builds connection. When you share your experience, not your success, people listen. Because struggle feels real. And in that moment, you realize something powerful. Your pain was not wasted. It became knowledge. For English learners, this stage is transformative. You help someone with a word you once found difficult. You explain a sentence structure that confused you before. You reassure someone who is afraid to speak. And as you speak, your own understanding becomes clearer. Teaching strengthens learning. Explaining forces clarity. And empathy builds confidence. This stage also removes comparison. When you help someone, you stop measuring yourself against others. You measure impact instead. And impact feels better than competition. You realize that progress is not about being the best, it is about being useful. Helping others also heals your past self. Every time you encourage someone, you encourage the version of you that once needed those words. This creates emotional closure. You forgive yourself for being slow. You respect your journey. And this respect builds inner peace. Another important shift happens here. You stop hiding your imperfections. You speak openly about mistakes. You laugh about confusion. And this honesty makes others comfortable. When people feel safe around you, they learn better. And when they learn better, you feel meaningful. This stage teaches leadership, not loud leadership, quiet leadership, leading by example, leading by consistency, leading by kindness. You become someone others feel safe learning from. Helping others also deepens your discipline. When others look up to you, you show up more regularly, not because of pressure, but because of responsibility. Responsibility strengthens habits. This chapter shows that growth is not complete until it is shared. Knowledge becomes wisdom when passed on, and wisdom strengthens both sides. If you are helping others now, remember this: you are growing too, more than you realize. Chapter 17. My story was never just mine. There comes a moment when you realize something quietly powerful. Your story was never just about you. All the struggle, the waiting, the confusion, the slow progress, the falling and standing again. It was not only shaping you, it was preparing you to connect with others. At first, you thought this journey was personal. Your pain, your fear, your effort. But now you see how many people are walking the same path, just at different steps. And this realization changes how you see everything. You begin to notice familiar expressions in others, the same hesitation before speaking, the same fear of mistakes, the same tired smile that hides effort. You recognize it instantly because you lived it. And when you recognize it, something inside you softens. You feel less alone, and you realize others feel the same. This shared experience creates a quiet bond. No words are needed. Understanding is enough. For a long time, you believed your struggle was a weakness, something to hide, something to be ashamed of. But now you see it differently. Your struggle is a bridge. It connects you to people who feel lost. It allows you to say, I know how this feels. And when someone hears that, their shoulders relax. They feel seen. And being seen is powerful. For English learners, this moment is very emotional. You start understanding why your journey matters beyond fluency. It is not just about speaking better. It is about empathy. When someone struggles with English, you do not judge. You remember your own fear. You listen patiently. You wait. You create space. This kindness makes learning easier for others, and it makes you proud of the person you became. This stage also removes ego. You stop thinking in terms of, I am better now. You think in terms of, I can help now. This shift brings humility and strength together. You respect your growth without feeling superior. You value effort over talent. This mindset keeps you grounded. Another change happens here. You stop trying to impress people with your success. You start sharing your process instead. You talk about mistakes. You talk about slow days. You talk about doubt. And strangely, people connect more with that than with your achievements, because honesty feels real. This chapter teaches a deep lesson. Stories heal when they are shared. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly. When you tell your story in simple words, people listen, because they hear their own voice in yours. You also realize something important. If your story can help one person feel less alone, it already has value. Success is not measured only by how far you go, it is measured by how many people feel encouraged because you did not quit. This realization changes motivation. You no longer grow only for yourself. You grow because others are watching, even silently. People who are afraid, people who are tired, people who need proof that slow progress is still progress. You become that proof, not by being perfect, but by being real. This chapter is where purpose becomes clear. Your journey gains meaning beyond goals, beyond language, beyond achievement. It becomes about connection. If you are listening to this and thinking your story is small, remember this. Small stories reach people quietly, and quiet reach lasts longer than loud success. Your story was never just yours. It belongs to everyone who needed hope and found it in your effort. Chapter 18. You are not late, you are learning. At some point in the journey, a painful thought tries to return. It whispers quietly, but it feels heavy. It says, I started too late. Others are ahead. I missed my chance. This thought visits many people, especially those who are learning something new later in life. It compares timelines, it compares ages, it compares speed. And if you believe it, it can steal your joy and slow your progress. But this thought is not truth. It is fear wearing the mask of logic. Being late is a story the mind tells when it looks sideways instead of forward. Life does not move on one schedule. There is no single time for success, learning, or growth. Everyone arrives at understanding in their own season. Some people start early but stop halfway. Others start late and go deep. What matters is not when you begin, what matters is whether you continue. For English learners, this feeling is very common. You hear young people speak confidently. You see others who learned faster. And you think, if only I started earlier. This regret feels real, but it is unproductive. You cannot change when you started. You can only change what you do now, and now is always powerful. Learning later in life has hidden strengths. You are more patient. You understand effort. You respect discipline. You know why you are learning. Purpose makes learning deeper. Young learners often learn because they are told to. Older learners learn because they choose to. Choice creates commitment. This chapter is about reframing time. Time is not against you. Time responds to action. Every day you practice, you are on time for your own life. You are not racing others, you are building yourself. Another truth appears here. People who start later often learn with more awareness. They notice patterns, they ask better questions, they connect learning to real life. This makes learning stick. Speed is not everything. Depth matters. The idea of being late also comes from social pressure. Society celebrates early success, but it rarely talks about long-term growth. Many early successes fade. Many late starters build lasting skill. History is full of people who bloomed later. They were not late, they were ready. This stage teaches self-respect. You stop apologizing for your pace, you stop explaining your timeline. You own your journey. And when you own it, confidence grows naturally. Another important shift happens here. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You accept that now is enough. Learning becomes part of your present, not a regret about the past or a dream about the future. This chapter removes shame. There is no shame in learning. There is no shame in starting again. There is no shame in being a beginner. The only shame is quitting because of imagined timelines. If you feel late, remember this. You are learning now, and learning now means you are alive, curious, and growing. That is never late. This chapter prepares you for the final stretch of the journey, because once you stop fighting time, you start using it well. Chapter 19. Your struggle is preparing you. When you look back at your journey, something slowly becomes clear. The struggle was not random. It was not meaningless. It was shaping you in ways you could not see at the time. Every difficult moment was teaching you something. Every delay was building patience. Every mistake was training your awareness. And every time you wanted to quit but did not, you were becoming stronger than before. The struggle was not trying to stop you. It was preparing you. At the beginning, struggle feels unfair. You ask why things are so hard for you. You look at others and think they have it easier. But struggle does not choose people randomly. It meets those who are capable of growth. If something were truly beyond you, you would not feel pulled toward it. Desire often appears before ability, and struggle is the space between the two. For English learners, struggle is especially personal. Language touches identity. It affects how you express thoughts, feelings, and personality. Struggling with language can feel like struggling to exist fully. This is why it hurts more. But this pain also creates empathy. You understand others who struggle to express themselves. You listen more. You become patient. These qualities are rare and valuable. Struggle also builds problem solving. When things are easy, you do not analyze, you follow. When things are hard, you think. You adjust, you experiment, you learn how to learn. This skill stays with you for life. You become adaptable. Another gift of struggle is resilience. Resilience is not loud confidence. It is quiet endurance. It is the ability to continue without excitement. It is staying when progress is slow. This skill protects you in every area of life. This chapter reframes pain. Pain is not punishment. It is training. Training feels uncomfortable. Muscles hurt when they grow. Minds feel tired when they change. Emotional discomfort is part of expansion. You may not see the purpose now, but one day you will meet someone at the beginning of their journey, and you will understand them deeply. Your struggle will become guidance. This chapter is about trust. Trust that nothing you endured was wasted. Trust that the weight you carried built strength. Trust that the patience you developed will serve you later. If you are still struggling, know this: you are being prepared, and preparation always comes before responsibility. Your story is almost complete. One final chapter remains, and it begins with you choosing to continue. Chapter 20. This is not the end, it is your start. When people reach the end of a story like this, they often expect a finish line, a clear ending, a moment where everything feels complete. But real life does not work that way. There is no final chapter where growth stops and comfort stays forever. The truth is simple and powerful. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a new one. Everything you went through was not leading you to stop. It was preparing you to continue with strength. At the beginning of this story, you were unsure. You felt slow. You felt behind. You doubted yourself. You questioned your ability. And now, look at how far you have come. Not perfect, not finished, but stronger, calmer, more aware. You understand yourself better. You understand learning better. You understand effort better. This awareness is something you did not have before, and awareness changes everything. This chapter is not about celebrating success loudly. It is about recognizing growth quietly. You no longer need proof from others. You no longer need constant motivation. You know what to do when things feel hard. You know how to return to routine. You know how to stand up again. These skills matter more than talent. For English learners, this moment is very meaningful. English is no longer something outside of you. It is part of your life. You may still be learning, but you are no longer afraid of the language. You approach it with curiosity, not fear, and that changes your future completely, because when fear disappears, learning becomes natural. This chapter also reminds you of choice. Every day you choose whether to continue or stop, whether to practice or delay, whether to believe or doubt. And now those choices feel lighter because you trust yourself. You know you can handle challenges. You know you can recover from mistakes. This confidence is earned, not imagined. Your story also continues to matter to others. People are watching you silently, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. Your effort gives them courage. Your honesty gives them hope. And even if you never see their faces, your story touches them. That is impact. As you move forward, remember this: growth never ends. There will be new challenges, new fears, new goals, but you will face them with experience, not as a beginner, but as someone who has survived the hardest part, the beginning. This chapter invites you to continue, not to relax, to stay curious, to stay patient, to stay kind to yourself. Learning is now part of who you are. And now, before we truly end, remember why you started. Remember the silence, the struggle, the doubt, and remember that you are still here, still learning, still growing. That alone makes you successful. If this story connected with you, subscribe to the channel to continue this journey together. Like this video to support simple English learning. And comment below. Share your story. Someone out there needs to hear it. This is not the end. It is your start.